Thank you very much. This is an unexpected honor. And let me say that during the last 2 days, 2.5 days, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot not only about India, but I have learned a lot about my country, Myanmar. And I must thank all the presenters because, you know, during my first year honors class, my professor spoke to our class. He mentioned one quote, which I still hold today as my motto regarding myself. What he said was, I know only one thing, and that is, I don't know anything. So, it is with this attitude that I come to these seminars. And that is why that I thank you all for sharing your knowledge and expertise to me. Well, I think I don't have much to say because the Professor Nagapal has just said about takeaways. So, but let me, on my own, just add a few comments because I have lots of papers. I have not prepared anything, and I'm going to skip from one paper to another. Let me add my own takeaway in a general sense. I'm not going to talk for the top these subjects because the subjects I think has already been covered by Professor Nagapal. One thing that struck me, which I hold very dear about this seminar, is that I have the sense of the feeling of spirit and goodwill and friendship towards our country. I feel, yes, there may be some comments, some statements, which may be not very complimentary, or which I have some difficulty, but I know that you speak from your knowledge, from your experience, from your heart. And I feel that there is really a sense and goodwill and friendship towards our country. And of course, as our country is in a state of transition, is in a state of transformation, we have our own challenges. And here I have noted a point made by Dr. Baldev Raj in his speech on the first day. And he said, transition to democracy needs extraordinary efforts. Yes, extraordinary efforts. We need extraordinary efforts for our transition to democracy. And because we have our own particular set of issues and problems. Because we are trying to transform our country into a democratic state at a time when we are still facing armed insurgency, armed conflict, when we still have not yet achieved peace with the various armed groups who have been, some of whom have been fighting against the central government for 60 years or more. Yes, it is a challenge. Will call for extraordinary efforts on our part. At the time, because there was another quote from him that I find it very, very touching. When he said, Myanmar is extremely important to India. And let me say that, let me respond by saying, yes, India is also extremely important for us. Now, since I was talking about our bilateral relations, and then my friend, Ambassador C. Shortrees also said, and this I take note very well, there are no fundamental issues between our countries. Yes. Of course, if you share a border of over 1,600 kilometers, if you have interaction, not only at the government level, official level, and the ordinary level, but also at the border, of course there can sometimes be issues. But these are, as we have discussed during the meetings, these are, but in a way they are natural because these things happen all over the world. But compared to others, I think these are rather small matters that we, both India and Myanmar, will not have any problem tackling them. And there was another statement by the ambassador that I fully agree. Our Myanmar-India relations, yes, we have good relations, but I think there is still a long way to go for us to further strengthen, expand, and consolidate for the mutual benefit of our two countries, of our two peoples. And in this regard, let me say that I was greatly encouraged by the recent comments of your Prime Minister. With your permission, I would like to quote, during his meeting with our Foreign Minister on the 16th of this month, this is just a few days ago. And this is what he said. India attached the highest priority to its relations with Myanmar. Well, what more compliment can you pay to a foreign minister than the head of government saying, we pay the highest, we attach the highest priority to your relations. And he also reaffirmed his commitment, and this I quote, to deepen the bilateral relationship in all areas, including in politics, economics, and security spheres, and also importantly, people-to-people contacts. Moreover, he went on to add that he would like to reaffirm India's position as a reliable partner in Myanmar's development, and highlighted the importance of Myanmar for peace and stability in the region and for India's connectivity with Southeast Asia. I think I can't agree with him more, because even as India attaches great importance, or as the greatest importance, Myanmar also attaches importance to our relations with India. We have followed the progress, the achievements made by India in various fields, and we rejoice with you for your achievements, for your accomplishment in every field. Well, because of Mr. Nagapaka, he was showing me around the library this morning also. As I said, in all fields, starting, because he is here, from rocketry and satellite, to the cottage industries. In education, we have greatest respect for Indians in education. And also, your social services. And so, what do we expect from you, from India? We look to India not only as a neighbor, as a friend. We look to you as a friend. But more than as a friend, as a partner for progress. We are in transition, and as Ambassador Sisatri has said, there is no case of turning back from our march to democracy. But we are going to need the help of our friends. India, as we can see also from this morning when we were talking more about the economic side, had made great strides in economy, science and technology, and even in liberal arts. I think, and I believe, that India can help us develop our science and technology. In fact, you know, we have sort of given a list of the things that we want to do, you know, to have more cooperation from India. And this include, if I may, with your permission, one is to increase trade. There is still a great potential. You know, we had our trade minister, our commerce minister said he hoped that by 2020, right? Because right now we are about between $2 and $3 billion in our trade, for 20 billion by 2020. Well, I think that's a little bit ambitious, but the thing is that we want to increase trade. We wish for increased trade with China, with India, but if I may be so bold as to add to my Indian friends, you also have to work to make your products known, to make your products more familiar, to make your services more acquainted with our people. Because this is one thing that I find, that the knowledge Of course, there are always exceptions. There are the people who have dealt with India for decades, but that's another matter. But for the ordinary people, I think there is an information gap about the capacities, about the abilities, about the performance of India in various fields. And I think this is one area that we should explore to get more acquainted. There was a mention of the trade fair. And I think this is a very good idea. And I hope that such trade fairs will continue. You have a very good ambassador in Myanmar at the moment. And if I may just digress, we had a yoga day the other day, and it was very popular. It was shown live on TV. Well, this is regarding one thing. And another sector that we would be very interested is the development of small-scale industries. This is one area, I think, because India has been quite successful. And I think, because our industry, well, with due respect to to our Myanmar colleagues also, you know, our industry is still more or less in a nascent stage. And we need to grow. And especially, we have very limited heavy industry. And most of our industry is in the small scale, or shall we say, SMEs. But I think we need the assistance of India, because we have as far as I understand, a very good experience and performance in this matter. Of course, we are already talk about the cooperation in energy and natural gas sectors. And there is one sector which India can really help, and that is human resource development. Our country is changing. We are trying to develop. But for sustainable development, we need the human resource. And as was explained, you know, when I was speaking about human resource, it's not just the higher people like professors and engineers and doctors, but also the skilled labor training, the technical training. This is also what I feel that India can help. Most of our people, the majority of our people, live in the rural areas. In rural areas, I think poverty alleviation is also very important. I think we can learn a lot from India, how you go about poverty alleviation. And I think recently you have also make some special programs in this regard. And yesterday we also devoted one session to the Northeast India. And Northeast India, Professor Nagapa, when you talk about these areas being not very populated and being backward, well, I was wondering whether you were talking about India, Northeast, or whether you were talking about our areas bordering India. Because these places have very few people, very few resources. As mentioned during our discussion yesterday, there are 3 on our side. three regions border India: Rakhine, Chin, and Rakhine, or Arakan. And let me say, we have 7 states, more or less in the center, and 7 regions, 7 regions in the center, and 7 states where the national races or ethnic races live. In terms of our 14 states and regions, in economic terms, Rakhine is the poorest. Rakhine, which borders you, is the poorest. So sorry, Rakhine is number 2. Chin is the poorest. Chin is the most economically backward region in our country. And Rakhine is number 2. I'm not an expert, so I don't know really how, but after listening to the deliberations yesterday, I cannot but come to a conclusion. Yes, there is a need for our 2 countries to develop these areas, and there is also a need for our 2 countries to improve. First of all, let us speak about connectivity and to improve, to give priority to the development of these areas. Unfortunately, I don't know about from the Indian side, but from our side, development of these areas are not of the highest priority in the government. But unless these areas develop, and I think in the development of these areas, I think the linkages between your side and our side is very important. Because I can say this with a certain amount of assurance, because I've been to all the areas in the Chin state. I've been to Reith. Of course, unfortunately, I have not been to the remote areas of Rakhine. But I think this is one area that we have to work together. And before closing, let me also address another issue that we in Myanmar, at the policy level, we are happy that India is growing in power. When I say in power, economic power, diplomatic power, military power, political power. As I said, we attach great importance to our relations with India. As such, we welcomed, well, previously it was Look East, now I think with the Prime Minister, it is your Act East policy. And we hope, because there was talk yesterday of having a linkage from India, Myanmar, Thailand. I believe this project should be encouraged, should be given priority, because this will benefit all 3 countries. And as I have mentioned about the Northeast, yes, because I find that in many seminars that I attend in India, or even in China, this Northeast question comes up. Yes, I think, first of all, I think it is incumbent on both governments in both nations to give more priority to the development of these areas, because they are really, even in our case also, I would not like to say about India, in our case also, the most economically backward, or let me say less developed region. And the thing is that, like, as I said, I've been to Chin area, all the main cities of Chin area, since we flew by helicopter. The thing is that there is not only even the land for agricultural development. It is not going to be easy. And unless the central government, I don't know about India, but from my personal perspective, without the help of the central government, without the commitment of the central government, these areas will not develop. And that is why that we hope that these areas will develop on our own, and at the same time will serve to connect our two countries and to bring further development to the area. I believe I've taken too much of your time, so thank you very much. Because I speak from my heart. Let me say, I speak from my heart. Thank you.
This difficult task of thanking everyone is now upon me. Hope I'll be able to do justice. Firstly, I would like to thank all the distinguished speakers and participants who, despite their busy schedule, could make it, actively engage in each session of the conference and make this conference a grand success. Hope you'll be able to spare some time and go around the city. Secondly, the ISSSP team, Professor Rajaram Nagappa, Professor S. Chandrasekhar, Ramani sir, Lalita ma'am, who has been our constant mentor and guide. Dr. Mail, as sir rightly pointed out, we missed him, who unfortunately was taken ill, but constantly kept tabs of the proceedings of the conference via emails and phone calls. Dr. Arun, my colleagues Ramya and Kaveri. And last but not the least, the administrative staff who have been running the show from behind the scenes. Special thanks to Mr. Srinivas Aithal, Ms. Sandhya, Mr. Devraju, Mr. Ramesh, Mr. Arun, photographer Mr. Shiv Kumar, and Mr. Madan, who has been recording the proceedings of the conference, and also the catering staff. So thank you for making the conference a grand success. Looking forward to interacting with you in future as well. And please forgive me if I missed anyone in particular. Thank you.
I'd like to bring out the proceedings of this conference. So I'd like to request all of you to please send us written matter of whatever speech you presented in this one. It will help us, even though we have transcribed, it will help us if we have your written text with us. So request each of you, both the speakers from outside India as well as from India, to give us the written material of this one. Thank you very much. I know it's a little bit of a task, but then request you to spare the time for that. Thank you very much.